beautiful Florida October afternoon. So sitting outside for a little bit, just enjoying an otherwise phenomenal day. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about what happened on Friday with the markets, if you're not aware. The crypto sell-off, the equities, meaning the stock sell-off as well. What's happening with gold. Well, we kind of just dive. I know normally we try to teach each and every week with a cup of coffee, but today's a protein shake because it's just one of those days. I already had 2 coffees. I don't know if I need any more. We'll find out as we work and as we go along. But very, very thankful for you taking time on a beautiful Sunday to hang out, to be here, and everything else. So be sure to check in down on the comments and say, hey, again, sitting outside today because both babies are asleep. And my beautiful wife told me sometimes I talk a little bit too loud. So I got booted outside. And thankfully, it is one of those days that you want to be outside in Florida, unlike most Florida days where you don't want to be outside. So very thankful to be here with you all, spending some time with you all. No coffee today, like I said, it's a protein shake kind of morning, but still a great day nonetheless. Check in the comments where you're watching from, and there's my beautiful wife in the comments, speaking of that, with where you're watching from and everything else. And let's just chat briefly here. I won't take but maybe 10, 15 minutes of your time. I want to chat about what has happened in the market this week, what is likely to happen tomorrow. And yes, the market is open tomorrow, even though your bank is likely closed. It is a bank holiday, not a market holiday. Usually they're one and the same, but Columbus Day is one of those holidays where banks close, but the stock market does not. The bond markets do close for half the day. Either way, Monday is likely going to be a rough day for the markets. Let's go back and let's explain just quickly what happened. So Friday at around 5 p.m., Trump posted on Truth Social. And by the way, this is never a political statement or anything like that. Love him, hate him, that really doesn't matter. This has happened, and this is what we're going to work through. He stated that he's putting an additional 100% tariff on China. There's many reasons for this. That's beyond the scope of this. And this is 100% in addition to the tariffs they already have. What does that mean for us? Well, obviously we jump to the negative and think that prices are going to go up, inflation is going to creep back in, all these other things. Here's the truth of the matter. The moment this was announced, I personally was very surprised to see the crypto market sell off like it did. I'm talking Bitcoin down 10%. Most of the altcoins, and when I say altcoins, I mean even things like Ethereum, sold off as much as 25% in some instances. That was surprising to me because we've seen this recent crypto rally, which was really fueled on this idea of what's the buzzword you're seeing now is debasement, which is moving away from equities and into things like gold and crypto. So for crypto to sell off, it tells me this is a totally uncorrelated thing, and your crypto markets will simply just return. Crypto should not have sold off like it did Friday and over the weekend, because remember, crypto markets don't ever close. Crypto should not have sold off like that. In fact, my wife was making fun of me because Friday night, we should be spending time with the family and everything else, and I'm running around making deposits and making trades and everything else because I just saw so many opportunities. It was like the market came on sale. Stocks had about a 6% sell-off, and it is likely going to be more come Monday because all of that sell-off happened after hours. While some retail traders, just people like you and I, while some retail traders can trade certain stocks after hours, the majority of pre-market and after hours, meaning the market's open from 9:30 to 4 p.m. each day, but before 9:30 a.m. is called pre-market, after 4 p.m. is called after hours trading. So the majority of that sell-off came during after hours, And the majority of that after hours is typically your institutional investors, your big hedge funds. Just think Wall Street when I say that. That's who initiated a lot of that sell-off. So likely on Monday when the market's open to regular people like you and I, we're going to see more of that sell-off continue unless something changes between it's Sunday at 12 in the afternoon and now. And that's really my point. Markets trade on emotion. There has been no hit to the US economy, the Chinese economy. Would you believe these tariffs don't even take effect for another almost 3 weeks? November 1st is when these tariffs would actually take effect. Yeah, if we also look at President Trump's track record, he's pushed those back quite a few times. And just like he pushed back the TikTok deadline, just like he pushed back tariff deadlines. Will November 1st, will this really happen? If it does really happen, is a lot of this drama already priced in? Or if it does really happen, does the market go down more? Or what is more likely to happen, honestly, is having followed the news, and again, this is not a political statement. Whether you voted for Trump or Harris or another third party, it really doesn't matter to me. I love you just the same. Do I have my opinions? Of course I have my opinions. But you're allowed to have your opinions too. I believe that President Trump has a track record of utilizing these type of big statements, we'll say, as negotiating leverage. It is plain and simple. And I believe a lot of this 100% tariff is to try to get some negotiating leverage on China. I believe it's related to the war between Russia and Ukraine and Chinese purchasing of Russian oil. There's a lot of other factors in this beyond just 100% tariff. Because at the end of the day, long term, it probably wouldn't be as beneficial. I am for tariffs, believe it or not. I believe in tariffs, and using tariffs to minimize our national debt. Is 100% tariff on China the right course of action? No, but there certainly needs to be something. I believe 100% it's kind of like when you're negotiating with somebody. Is your first offer ever the perfect offer you want? If you want to buy that car for $35,000, you don't just march to the sales manager and say, hey, I'll give you $35,000 for it. No, you start out at, I'll give you $30,000 for it, right? Knowing you're probably going to negotiate up to the number you really want to be at. And I believe that is exactly what is happening in this case. I believe that's exactly what's happening. This is just a strong-arm negotiation tactic, and the market freaked out. And I believe in the philosophy, I believe it was Peter Lynch that said it, to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. And I'm telling you right now, everyone is so fearful, and I don't like the G word of greed because that doesn't fit with what my wife and I believe, but it's still a great analogy. On Friday, we saw lots of buying opportunities in the crypto space. And I was just telling my wife, I can't wait for Monday morning because we're very blessed to have a seed of capital that I've been waiting to deploy. And actually there were some delays in deploying it, and I believe so strongly that it's going to be the perfect time to deploy it. And sorry for all the birds and airplanes flying over, everything else like I shared earlier. I'm outside because all the babies are inside sleeping. And when I say babies, I mean the 3-week-old, JJ, Jason Jr. We missed a few episodes because we had the baby. But that is strongly what I believe. I believe you are going to see the market you already see the crypto market on sale. In fact, Ethereum dipped below $4,000. And even my father-in-law was texting it to me, did you see this? I always said, oh yeah, I already picked some up. I believe you're going to see some deep discounts that we may not see for a long time, if ever again. I don't want to be as bold to say we'll never see these discounts again. Now, I want to add one more thing, then I'll let you go. I know you're seeing the words, the AI bubble, the AI bubble, the AI bubble. And we have this association with bubbles. Because if you are young enough and old enough, I chose my words carefully there. If you are of an age where you lived through the 2008 global recession and really the housing crisis, the buzzword there was what? It was a housing bubble. And if you are of age to remember the news reports of a housing bubble, when you hear the word bubble, it doesn't make you feel too warm and fuzzy, does it? So when you hear people talk about an AI bubble, you feel concerned. And I respect that and I understand that. In fact, even Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, and others have even said we are in an AI bubble. But what they don't say is, are we in a financial AI bubble? Are we in a technological AI bubble? And honestly, do I believe we're in an AI bubble? No, I believe we are in I believe the market has more to run. Will there be a pullback? Yes. Is this the pullback? No, this pullback came on news of Trump putting tariffs on China. Now, that could be the catalyst for a greater pullback, right? Everything has a catalyst to those things. In 2008, it was the collapse of Bear Stearns, which led to the collapse of Lehman Brothers. Right? Everything has a catalyst with that. And this could be that. I'm not trying to prophesy the future by any means with that. I personally believe the market has more room to run. Will there be a pullback? Yes, and it's going to be healthy. Is it going to be a market crash like you think of when you hear bubble? I don't believe so right now. Now, there's things down the road in years, like our national debt and stuff, that could cause a genuine crash like that, but you can't live your life in that fear. When you hear others talk about an AI bubble, what you don't, or maybe don't realize is AI, as it stands today, is wildly unprofitable. I mean, wildly unprofitable. I understand that OpenAI, I believe, just passed SpaceX as the most valuable private company. But OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT, the product you probably use every single day, is wildly unprofitable. And you say, how could that be? With hundreds of millions of users. And actually, it's the hundreds of millions of users that's the biggest problema as to why they're wildly unprofitable. Because the level of compute, the level of data that it takes, the amount of chips, let me use some like plain English terms that aren't exactly correct, but those of you who aren't maybe very tech savvy, you'll get it. The amount of bandwidth, the amount of compute that it takes to run these operations is just off the chart expensive. Data center, cloud, there's not enough of it. This is why you've seen the big NVIDIA run, because everybody is buying more chips, because everybody needs more compute. And I believe that will continue to run. And I understand some of these deals with NVIDIA and OpenAI and Oracle, and all of which I'm very bullish on. Why Sam Altman and others say there is an AI bubble is because they need to quickly find their way to profitability. It's very hard to be the most valuable company, privately in this case, in the world, and be that wildly unprofitable. You look at a use case, and this is not a stock recommendation, but I'll wrap on this. Who's best suited for something like this is honestly like a Google. And you think, well, do you use Gemini? Gemini is probably the third player. And again, you look at the stats, it's probably OpenAI, ChatGPT, then Anthropic, which is Claude. And then I would argue Gemini is probably third in the AI race. But I would also argue that Google has the greatest possibility of achieving profitability on AI because of their infrastructure. Google has the data centers. Google actually makes not a GPU, but what's called a TPU, which is another type of chip. Google has a lot of this infrastructure, a lot of these resources, and most importantly, already has the customer database already built. If anybody's geared up to succeed and find profitability in AI first, I'd argue it's Google, not an OpenAI. Now, OpenAI has a lot of things they have to work through. They're currently and technically a nonprofit, trying to become a for-profit. Would that lead them to go to an IPO? I believe would be the most ludicrous IPO in history, ever, compared to some of the biggest IPOs ever. I think the OpenAI IPO, initial public offering, would be the biggest that the world has ever seen. and they may IPO and not be profitable. And they may price at a multiple that shows profitability in a long, long time. Those are things you'd have to take into consideration if and when. I'd say it's more of a when that actually occurs and happens. So to summarize, for some of you that just kind of jumped on, yes, the market sold off after hours on Friday because President Trump announced a 100% tariff on China. That tariff does not take effect until November 1st. I believe it's simply just a strong arm negotiating technique, and I believe the market really overreacted. I believe it will overreact again on Monday. The crypto market is just flat right now, maybe slightly recovering. I believe the market, when more retail traders can trade, Monday the markets are open, even though it's Columbus Day. Banks are closed. It was really kind of poor timing for this announcement too, over technically kind of like a 3-day weekend in the midst of a shutdown. There's a lot happening right now. I don't believe this is the catalyst for something worse. I believe this is just news, and unfortunately how news travels sometimes. It's going to cause a sell-off, and I believe the market will swing right back around in the next 7 to 14 days, 1 to 2 weeks, when Trump announces a resolution or that China has conceded or whatever that may actually be. Don't trade the fear of the news. You can buy on that fear. And as I was sharing earlier, we made some buys, and I cannot wait for Monday morning at 9:30. I'll be there placing plenty more buys. Maybe 9:45. I'll let the sell-off dive a little deeper because it'll dive deep at the beginning. Once the retail traders probably have a ton. I'll have to actually check. You can check and see how many limit orders are pending, or market orders are pending for that matter. I should look and see. I guarantee there's a lot of them just waiting in sell positions. And I'll be there with my buy position, patiently waiting as well. So those are some ideas. Anyways, I just wanted to share, I know normally I teach on these Sunday mornings / afternoons, but I thought it was really important to kind of share the state of the market, what is happening. These are the times you just stay the course and you find great buying opportunities. You look at your Moola meter and your Moola app, which will change a lot on Monday because a lot of stocks are going to drop. If anything, you're going to see a lot more buys and strong buys on Monday because that's how the Moola meter ultimately works. It's looking for the deals. The Moola meter tells you, right? I'll give a plain English example and then I'm done. Eggs. Eggs are eggs, right? We scramble them, we cook them, we eat them, whatever it is. The Moola meter would say eggs are a strong buy when they're at $1.30 a dozen. That's a very strong buy. Now, a few months ago when egg prices were $14 for that same dozen, the Moola meter would tell you nope or absolutely not, essentially. Same product. Eggs. They're good eggs. They make you big and strong when you grow up, right? It's all about that price. So the biggest change you see in your Moola meter inside the Moola app is based on price. Now there's 56 other factors that are calculated into that, but the thing that moves it the most on a day-to-day basis is price. And to answer your question, we are working on some way to provide some easier alerts as to when that changes for you. So anyways, listen, have a blessed, abundant, outstanding rest of your Sunday. Go enjoy your family. Don't sweat the news. There's going to be opportunities on Monday. There's opportunities in crypto now, and watch for those. Have an amazing day, everybody. I'll see you.